Coming up next, CityNet 30 takes you downtown for the weekly luncheon meeting of the City Club of Portland. Live weekly coverage of City Club is made possible in part by TCI and is produced through the facilities of Portland Cable Access. Now we join the City Club for this week's program.
And that doesn't sound like much, but it's a very difficult job. Several nominating committees, the Research Committee, and the Board of Governors. Don was the editor of the Oregon Journal until it merged with the Oregonian in 1982, at which time he became assistant to the editor of the Oregonian, a position from which he retired in 1992. He served on the Tri-County Community Council, the Board of Ecumenical Ministries of Oregon, the Board of the Better Business Bureau, and the Board of the Oregon Historical Society, where he served as president from 1977 to 79. In 1989, he was the recipient of the Roger Williams Freedom of Information Award, an award presented to honor his work on a variety of committees and professional organizations to battle government secrecy. In addition to being called an intellectual gem, Don has been described as an old-fashioned patriot who, if he had lived at the time of the writing of the Constitution, he would have been a member of the writing team. Perhaps the best description of all came from a fellow Oregonian writer who, upon Don's retirement, said, "Don Sterling has had many jobs in the newspaper, in the community. He's done them all with grace and style." I'm privileged and honored to present this year's City Club Award to Don Sterling. Don.
Well, this is a great institution. It's one of the linchpins that holds the city together, and it's a great honor to have been associated with it for quite a while, and I thank you very much.
For today's program, we focus on our city and its future with Mayor Vera Katz and our annual State of the City address. Vera was elected mayor 8 years ago. She's presided over a city that's had extraordinary change and development. Whether it's floods, civil rights, urban growth boundaries and density, or educational problems, she's been willing to step up to the plate and to act. She's been active in a broad range of programs of concern to the citizens of the city. We've been fortunate this winter so far in having no major catastrophes like snowstorms or floods, or in fact a special session of the legislature. Are willing to go through a process in the selection of the police chief and the planning director, even though subject to some criticism, has helped create a sense of involvement by its citizens in the shaping of the city. Vera has been a community activist since she came to Portland in the early 60s. She was elected to the Oregon House of Representatives in the early 70s and became the first woman Speaker of the House. Her leadership contributed much to the placing of higher demands and standards on our educational system. We're pleased and honored to have our mayor here to give her State of the City message. Vera?
Thank you, Lloyd. Now you can see me. Thank you, Lloyd. I want to thank the City Club for giving me the opportunity again to talk about the state of the city. But before I start, I'd like to recognize the members of my City Council. Commissioner Hales, Commissioner Francisconi, Commissioner Sten, Commissioner Salzman. Auditor Gary Blackmer. County Commissioners Serena Cruz, Diane Lynn, County Commissioner. And as the former Speaker of the House, I can never forget to introduce the legislators of the Oregon Legislature. Senator Kate Brown, Senator Vern Duncan, Representative Max Williams, and Representative Jeff Merkley. Seven years ago, in my first State of the City speech, I said that we will seek any method, take any opportunity to spend our scarce public funds in ways that encourage people to come together, to work out their priorities, and solve their own problems. Since that day, we've discovered what we can accomplish together, and the state of the city is better for what we've done. Crime is at a 30-year record low. Incomes are up, unemployment is up, employment is up, unemployment is down. Housing is being built at a record rate, and people feel very good about the direction that the city is going. These are accomplishments of sometimes unreasonable, oftentimes passionate men and women whose values and can-do attitude set them apart in America. But we've always expected more from life here in Portland. So now in these good times, we must expect even more from ourselves. The future promises to be one of the most revolutionary periods since our city was founded. We must aggressively shape the future into the city that we want. I believe we're up to the job of creating a city that even in our most optimistic moments, we could never have imagined. Now when things are going so well in so many ways, now is the best time to tackle our boldest dreams, our toughest problems, to aspire to life's highest purpose. This is the future I intend to lead us towards, a vision of the best that Portland can be. Today, now I won't be able to cover all the issues, nor will I even be able to answer all the questions regarding any one issue. But I'm asking you to join me in busting through the complacency of contentment by raising our own expectations for ourselves to achieve a set of aggressive goals. One's based on the belief in the beauty and the purpose of the city, in the good values and hard work of Portlanders, and in the creativity that thrives here. First of all, in the knowledge-based economy of today's world, we have a choice. We can compete by providing the cheapest workers or the smartest ones. I choose for Portlanders to be the best educated, most creative, and most skilled. We must provide lifelong opportunities for everybody, preschool to high school, college, and beyond. Too many of our 11th grade students read at only a 5th grade level. Only 30% of Portland 10th graders meet our new state standards. Too many entry-level job applicants read at 3rd grade level. Too many incarcerated juveniles are illiterate. We must now prepare all students to achieve the Certificate of Initial Mastery and the Certificate of Advanced Mastery. Every school program, every policy, every practice must move students from the bottom of the academic ladder so they all can reach the top. By 2005, 95% of Portland's third graders should achieve the reading benchmarks. And the number of high school students who currently pass the Certificate of Initial Mastery should double, leading to a 100% success rate soon after. I flatly reject any more delay, dawdle, or defeat. If it takes longer school days, smaller class sizes, tutoring, summer school, and yes, even year-round schools, then it must be done. We know these efforts work. Ask the students at Jefferson High School and Portsmouth Middle School who participated in a city-paid reading program. Jefferson's scores jumped 79% and Portsmouth 88%. Ask the 37 eighth graders who would not have gone on to Reynolds High School without our expanded summer school program. But it also takes willingness to think boldly about our schools. I believe we must re-examine the structure of high schools as we know them today. They work for too few of our students. To that end, I've connected Superintendent Ben Canada with the National Center on Education and the Economy, whose board I sit on, to have one of our schools in Portland be part of a national pilot that looks at the restructuring of our current high school model. But education of Oregon students should not fall solely on the shoulders of our schools. You and I can make a difference. If you volunteer for only one outside activity this year, volunteer for Start Making a Reader Today, the SMART program. If you're an employer, give your employees time off to volunteer for SMART. Ask job applicants if they achieve the Certificate of Initial Mastery, and let them know that this achievement is important to you and could in fact determine whether they get a job or not. And for those applying for City of Portland jobs, expect to be asked. Now, the work of educators also would be easier if students arrived on the school steps ready to learn. For just $1.5 million, we could enroll every 4-year-old Portland child eligible for Head Start. We don't have that money today, but I'm determined to find it. We know that all these efforts will take more money. The city has already invested $40 million over the last 5 years to help local schools. But some of what's required must come from savings from the districts themselves. Portland Public Schools must deal this year with the painful reality of underused school buildings. But even finding all the internal school district savings will not be enough. Here's something all of us can do. Having achieved an additional $1 billion plus for schools in Oregon, the work of the statewide coalition for school funding now must continue. Get involved to support their efforts at the next legislative session. And we must say no to Sizemore again. His measure is a ticking time bomb that will detonate in our schools. If the measure qualifies on the ballot this summer, I propose that the legislature immediately go into special session, draft a contingency budget to show the impact of over $1 billion in cuts to the state budget, and do it before the election. Also in May, a local funding measure will be on the ballot. It will restore 170 educators. It will replace 15-year-old textbooks. It will help restart programs such as art and music. I strongly support the local option, and so should every one of you. And now a word about higher education. Front page banner headlines like "Universities Hold Back Oregon's Future" is not the stuff that Portland's bold dreams are made of. Portland is a great city, but for us to be our best, Portland State University must become a great university to match. As the governor said last week, we must now focus on a better engineering program for the state of Oregon. He's right. We've been having this conversation with higher education for the last 25 years. It's time for everyone to set aside institutional egos and make it happen. We will help. We will help as we did 2 years ago when we gave some urban renewal funds to Portland State University to help build a new College of Urban and Public Affairs. It will open late spring, and we will help again. I've asked the Portland Development Commission to find resources to help build a new school of engineering at Portland State that will help them become a top-tier program. But in doing so, Portland State University must collaborate on this effort with Oregon State University, with the Oregon Institute of Technology, with the Oregon Graduate Institute, and include companies like Intel, LSI, and Tektronix in the effort. And let's get it done, not in 10 years, but in 5. Additional public and private partnerships with the Oregon Health Sciences University are also needed to turn more of its research into new industries and job opportunities. And I'm happy to report that Portland State University, this city, and our local creative service industry are working together to put Portland on the map as the West Coast capital for creative services. In this hot economy, our income gap between the rich and the poor is too great for a city of our privilege and success. To close it, training and retraining of our workforce for family wage jobs is critical. We're rewriting the book on regional workforce training, going from a government-directed, centralized model to a market-driven, demand-driven, community-based partnership. Key corporate partners have already agreed to train and hire over 500 residents this year. Gunderson and Portland Community College at the Outer Southeast Manufacturing and Technology Center at Marshall High School will be turning out top welders. Stream International is training computer support technicians, and LSI, Logic, and Mount Hood Community College are training semiconductor technicians. And neighborhood-based career centers have placed over 1,000 workers in jobs the last quarter a 30% increase since 1998. Our workforce training efforts, of course, would be benefit and would be assisted from enlightened federal and state policies that raise child care benefits for low-income workers, increase the federal earned income tax credit, and raise the minimum wage. For Portland to be its best, we must be safe. And that starts with the safety of our young people. For my second goal, I want to end youth gun violence in this city, in the city of Portland. That means no gun murders and no gun shootings, and I mean none. Now, we started this work a year and a half ago in an unprecedented partnership of law enforcement agencies and community partners. The Youth Gun Anti-Violence Task Force, known lovingly as YGAT, focuses on neighborhood hotspots, apprehends violators, removes illegal guns off the streets, and provides the toughest enforcement and prosecution allowed by state or federal law. So far, since 1997, gang-related drive-by shootings are down 67%. Youth murders with guns down 50%. And just in a year and a half, nearly 2,700 illegal guns have been taken off the streets by our police officers. But tough actions alone will not solve this problem. Our after-school programs must be sustained to keep young people out of trouble. One of the single most effective things we can do is to require all guns sold in Oregon be equipped with technology that allows them to function only if held by the owner. These are called smart guns. This would curtail the use of stolen or illegally purchased weapons. I will ask the City Council to introduce legislation that requires this in Oregon for all guns sold here after 2003. But ending all youth gun violence will require more from even all of us. One, if you see a gun and a child with a gun, call 911. It's simple and effective. Two, don't buy a weapon. But if you must, lock up your guns and ammunition, and use safety trigger locks. Three, sign the petition and vote for the state ballot measure sponsored by State Senator Ginny Burdick to require all buyers at gun shows to undergo a background check. Now, I have some words I want to say directly to the gun lobby who might oppose this measure. You have swamped this country with portable killing machines. Only our short-term hope is to keep them out of the hands of criminals. If you oppose this measure with your Madison Avenue ad agencies and deep pockets, the blood of every Oregonian killed by a gun show buyer who did not undergo a background check is on your hands. I believe that further reducing the crime rate and ending some crimes is within our grasp because the Bureau of Police has never been more effective. And I'm proud of our excellent new Chief of Police, Mark Croker. And I want you to meet him. Chief, will you please stand up? Together, we will re-energize our community policing efforts. Citizens want more traffic and speeding enforcement. They want reduced neighborhood noise. They want enhanced safety in their schools and in parks. We will continually look for opportunities to further civilianize administrative and technical positions, freeing up time for officers to work the streets, to solve and to prevent problems. We can learn from other cities who have expanded their organizations with non-sworn community service officers to handle call-in reports, canvass neighborhoods for witnesses, respond to non-injury accidents, yes, and even take fingerprints and photograph crime scenes. Crime also goes down when people are invested in their neighborhood. I want the American dream of home ownership to be possible for many more of our citizens. I had to wait too long for that American dream. So my third goal is to grow the nation's highest rate of home ownership here in Portland. Currently, 62% of the region's residents own their own home. Portland's is at 57%. Since we rank number 3 among comparable cities, this is doable in less than 10 years. The ability to own a home depends at least on 2 things: household income, which largely depends on education and training, and the cost of housing. In response to this crisis, since 1994, we spent $210 million in local and federal funds to develop or preserve over 8,600 units of housing, mostly rental housing. Given the 58% increase in the cost of rental housing in 10 years, this expenditure is right on the mark. But it does not address the fact that the cost of homes for sale has increased 100% since 1990. I've worked hard to bring back some of our most challenged neighborhoods, North and Northeast Portland. Its renaissance is on its way, but success is threatened by gentrification that forces residents out of their homes, yes, out of their neighborhoods, and even out of the city. Those on limited incomes are the most vulnerable. The advertisements I see on TriMet reading, "We pay cash for homes in any condition," are messages to entice defeated homeowners. Our 3 housing programs at PDC can help only 400 homeowners a year. We're working on a community land trust to help renters become homeowners, and you'll be hearing about that in the Rosemont project sometime next month. But that's not enough. We must do more. We will soon approve a 2-year, $70 million Portland Development Commission budget to build or preserve 3,500 units of housing, most of them rental. I will also include additional general funds, if possible, for affordable housing in the next mayor's proposed budget. I will propose, however, that more of those resources go toward achieving this home ownership goal. And I also propose that we go to the ballot with a housing initiative to help seniors preserve the housing that we have and make more renters homeowners. But government is not the only solution to our affordable housing crisis. Alone, we will not meet our goal to make more homeowners. We need help from the banks, the Washington Mutual grandmas, that speedy stagecoach full of money at Wells Fargo, the us in U.S. Bank, the keys to the vault of Key Bank. Bank America doesn't have a catchy slogan yet, maybe next year. And others. To leverage our dollars, I will again call upon our leading financial institutions to dig a little bit deeper. We need your help. The goal of increasing home ownership is not enough. What homes look like and the livability of neighborhoods are also urgent issues as we continue to build this city and grow this city. The best that Portland can be is a city that grows with style and beauty. So my fourth goal is to protect and improve the livability, the beauty, and the uniqueness of Portland neighborhoods. 3 years ago, standing here, I said we needed to protect our neighborhoods from the pressures of growth by focusing more of it in the central city. We are making great headway on this strategy. It's exciting to hear that more singles and childless couples are moving from their oversized single-family house to homes and condos and apartments in places like the Pearl and River districts. And if they also work downtown, we enjoy an additional benefit citywide, not only providing neighborhood housing for somebody else, but reducing traffic congestion. But again, we need to do more. It's time to become obsessed with the quality of our growth. According to the latest survey, over 80% of Portlanders rate their neighborhood livability as good or very good. But as I said to you last year, livability is a fragile thing that needs constant care and nurturing. Whether from greed or indifference, our neighborhoods are too often disfigured and defaced by eyesores thrown up as new buildings. I'm convinced that Portlanders will accept living in closer quarters if the new structures are well designed and attractive. Now, I know that beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and what you find great, I may not, and vice versa. For instance, not everybody may agree with my taste in jewelry or my bright colors in my clothing. But I think we can all agree on this. Cookie-cutter snout houses that may belong next to a suburban track shopping mall are very unattractive. Fake styrofoam stucco, often cracking and leaking after just a few years, is unsightly. I have the name of the company, but I'm afraid I'm going to be sued again, so I haven't named it for you all to hear. I want us to grow beautiful and smart. As former Gresham Mayor Gussie McRoberts said, if density is the problem, design is the solution. And she was right. To the jeers of some and cheers of others, the City Council approved an anti-snout house design standard. That's just the beginning. Since taking over the Planning Bureau, I've been touring the city and gently cajoling, and sometimes not so gently, developers and architects to raise their bar for better design and use of higher quality building materials. My message to developers is this: if your proposed structure won't beautify and enhance its surroundings, then build it somewhere else, just don't build it in Portland. We need your help on this effort. Each neighborhood has a planning and land use committee. Join, attend, be involved. Now, protecting the character of our neighborhoods as we accept our share of the region's growth also requires us to increase investments in our infrastructure. Metro Executive Mike Burton was right when he said here 3 weeks ago that we cannot protect our quality of life without investing in the essentials of a livable community: schools, transportation, parks, housing, and yes, even sewers. Even neighborhoods of beautiful homes don't compensate for pothole-ridden streets that are so bad we can hardly pull out of our driveways. That's why this city council imposed systems development charges on new development to pay for parks and transportation. But in response to our effort to keep Portland, Portland, the Area Home Builders Association threatened a boycott. I think their concerns are misdirected. I believe, and I think my entire city council believes, it's very fair to ask developers to help pay for the kind of community infrastructure that makes Portland livable and its homes more attractive to buyers. We will further protect the livability of our neighborhoods by strengthening the city's planning functions and making planning more accessible and understandable to citizens. I took a big step forward by hiring Gil Kelly to be the city's new planning director. Gil comes from the People's Republic of Berkeley, so he is well-versed in dealing with tough and controversial issues. Gil, are you here? Welcome to the city of Portland. He starts work next week. I want to thank the City Club, and I want to thank you for your report on planning. Anytime the words planning and disarray are used in the same sentence, you know it's going to be a tough critique. Maybe a little too tough in some places. But your call for planning independence and better citywide coordination of planning functions is on the mark. As we complete the reinvention of planning in the city, planning by each bureau on its own separate silos will stop. In fact, the city's planning coordinating team, composed of all city bureaus with planning responsibilities, will begin its work next month. Its first assignment will to better coordinate the city's response to the Endangered Species Act listing. Lastly, on planning, we cannot grow smart if we're dumb about what our citizens want us to do. Here again, you can help. This year, we will start Portland Future Focus 2. I know Ned will be very happy to hear that. A chance to rethink how we want to grow. It'll give all Portlanders the opportunity to build a shared vision together for our city for the next 25 years. Participate in this endeavor. Before I leave the topic of Portland's changing landscape, I just want to take you on a quick 2-minute tour, since the City Club brochure advertised my speech, Connect the Dots, of efforts that strengthen and improve our city, and I would be remiss if I didn't do that. It'll be a fast 2 minutes. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. Old Town Chinatown is back, including a new classical Chinese garden about to bloom. The Pearl and River districts are well underway. The old Blitz Brewery blocks await a new lease on life. The Civic Stadium area stands ready for improvements. A group of experts looking at I-405 project will soon issue a report stating it is eminently feasible to cap 2.5 blocks between Taylor and Alder. Downtown's West End is rising. The Portland Art Museum is growing. The first new park in over 100 years will soon break ground. Retail like Pioneer Place 2, hotels, housing, office buildings reach for the sky. The PSU University District is underway. OHSU is planning its future on Pill Hill. North Macadam is about to jump off the drawing boards. Ross Island can soon be restored. A river walk will connect the Willamette's east and west sides. The Central East Side is planning a brighter future. Lloyd Center is adding new dimension to housing. Connecting all of this and more is the Central City streetcar running north and south, along with the soon-to-be expanded Fairless Square east and west to Lloyd Center. Outside the Central City, Northeast Portland's renaissance is underway with new housing, transportation improvements, new retail and businesses opening the doors. The Lentz community in outer Southeast designed itself an urban renewal district and will soon build retail and housing on its town center. Southwest has restarted its planning efforts. Gateway's on the map with exciting plans for its future. Hollywood and Sandy completed its planning process to bring back neighborhood businesses and housing, and we will start working on the wonderful neighborhood of St. John's to envision their future. Soon, Interstate Max will arrive at Vancouver's doorstep, and Air Max will take us to the airport. Whoa! Good stuff! But the best that Portland can be is a city that wins the battle against automobile congestion. Right now, we're losing to traffic congestion and gridlock that too often strangle cities. Unfortunately, that's how most Portlanders experience the daily pains of growth and change. Since 71% of commuters drive alone to and from work, and only 14% of commuters take transit, it's no wonder we are where we are today. We cannot road build our way out of this. This worsening problem calls for increasingly radical solutions. More alternative transportation option is the only answer. So my fifth goal for Portland is an expanded, schedule-free, and fareless transit system. To entice more of the single drivers off the road and onto transit, we need to make it easier and cheaper to hop on the streetcar, Max, or bus than it is to get into a car, fight traffic, and pay for parking. Transit needs to go more places. That's why we're building Airport Max and Interstate Max. That's why the Central City streetcar from Northwest Portland to PSU is underway, followed by, I hope, an extension to North Macadam and the East Side neighborhoods. As far as light rail goes, I propose to extend light rail across to the river to Vancouver, Washington. Vancouver Mayor Royce Pollard and I have already started a conversation about this proposal. I look forward to working with him to re-engage both of our cities in a discussion of how and when to get it done. Now, transit also should be more frequent. For busy lines, schedules should be unnecessary. Where's Fred Hansen? Schedules should be unnecessary. Transit service should be available every 5 minutes. He said it was okay. He didn't say yes to the next one, though. And yes, transit should be free. My sanity was called, thank you. My sanity was called in question 2 years ago when I proposed a fareless transit system. Sane or not, I'm not budging from that vision, because last year we showed we could start getting it done. We reached agreement to double the current fareless transit zone to Lloyd Center. Next, it should be extended to our soon-to-be remodeled historic Civic Stadium. Saving ourselves from congestion with an expanded, schedule-free system, fareless transit system will require a regional transportation funding strategy that also considers congestion pricing, tolls, and a regional parking tax. One important final note on transportation. Citizens are complaining about the condition of streets and roads. I don't blame them. Part of that solution is to pass the gas tax referral on the May ballot. So remember to vote yes. Having to cut millions from our city budget is a dismal prospect. Solving problems is not enough. We have to make sure they stay solved. After the Willamette River was cleaned up the first time, Tom McCall said, and I quote, "Even the Willamette stock of virgin sturgeons burgeoned." Try saying that 5 times fast. Stock of virgin sturgeons burgeoned. And it took the leadership of Tom McCall and Bob Straub, along with countless of Oregonians, to clean up the river. There was a willingness to make sacrifices for the sake of future generations. But let's remember something else Tom said about this river. It won't stay clean if we languish in the admiration of our own handiwork. And he too was right. Like most Portlanders, I am passionate about our river. So for Portland to be its best, my 6th goal is to clean up the Willamette River and reclaim our fish and wildlife habitat. I will not allow the Willamette, Portland's very reason for being, to be further degraded and defiled. We will continue our cleanup efforts and meet a federal timetable. We must consider the endangered species listing as a terrific opportunity. It's the kick in the pants that we deserved. And it's the kick in the pants that we needed to reclaim our lost fish and wildlife habitat, while at the same time developing an urban waterfront, turning brownfields into green fields. I believe we can find a way to do both, and to do them well in the Portland tradition. If meeting this challenge can be done anywhere in the United States, it can be done right here in the city of Portland. In our work, though, we have the responsibility to identify expected results and to monitor our efforts so they meet agreed upon performance standards, because anything less would be a betrayal of the public trust. Now, in Portland's early days, the river separated us. Now it brings us together. Soon the steel bridge will have a walkway for bikes and pedestrians. It will tie the downtown's waterfront park to the new East Side Riverfront Park with a new floating walkway, and there'll be a pathway that will connect to the Spring Water Trail. A final thought on the river. The edge of the river also gives us an opportunity to start working with the Central East Side community and begin to look again at some imaginative and bold proposals for rethinking the location and fate of I-5 freeway on the east side. The state of the Willamette is part of our quality of life. I want to talk just a little bit about the quality of our humanity. For my 7th goal, I want to ensure Portland is a place that welcomes and affirms diversity. The wonderful news is that we're becoming a more diverse community. And whenever the pool of intelligent talent and creativity is broadened, we are all enriched and made stronger. Economic access for women and minorities are key. That's why I've committed the city's contracting muscle to grow more successful minority and women-owned businesses. And our fair contracting and employment strategy is showing results. Since 1996, the number of minority, women, and emerging prime contractors has increased from 8% to 30%. The number of minority and female workers on city construction jobs is up 75%. We must not allow women and minorities to be held back from success in our city, nor should gays and lesbians and transgender Portlanders. I'm pleased today to announce that there is support from the Multnomah County Commission and the Portland City Council to implement a domestic partnership registry. A registry can be a useful tool to assist gays and lesbians in documenting their committed relationships. And it could make it easier for them and their families to obtain health benefits, visitation rights, and other basic rights that other families enjoy. These are some of the goals that will make Portland the best it can be. As you can see, I'm not afraid to involve city government in issues most important to the city, even if they aren't strictly in our mission. We can do all of this. We can do all of this. But again, only if you're part of making it happen. I believe we can defeat complacency not by wringing our hands in dismay, but by raising expectations, by giving people something great to strive for. I'm deeply gratified by the quality performance of our city workers. They are dedicated to serve you. And for any of them that are here in the audience, please stand up. But government alone will always fail unless the people have a commitment and the will to make their community fairer, their streets safer, their parks better, their air and water cleaner. Many people across this country and the world look to Portland as a potential home. I want to say a word to them too. Portland is a very special place. We love our city and seek always to make it better. If you cannot live with those values, if you only want to take and never give back to your community, then don't come and live here. There are many other cities to choose from. Many of them sent experts here to study the Portland story. They look at our light rail system, our planning efforts, our parks, our community policing. They talk to our experts, review our plans, and learn of our history. When they leave, they take with them the ingredients of a successful city, all but one. What makes our city really special does not show up in budget documents, project plans, or policy papers. It is the human and spiritual values of this community. Values that are not just talked about, values that are lived. When we came together to build a wall to stop a flood, when we came together to march for our children and their schools, when we came together to mourn our police officers fallen in the line of duty, and yes, when we came to celebrate in peace on New Year's Eve at Pioneer Courthouse Square, when we did these things and more, we were living our values. The value of neighborhood, not just a place on the map, but a place to set down roots, where we look out for each other, raise our children, and take pride in our homes. The value of environmental stewardship as a duty to future generations, of reverence for the place that is Portland. The value of education, not just to give our children the tools to compete, but to make them better citizens. The value of partnership, of government, business leaders, and private citizens working together in common cause. Now more than ever before, we recognize that no one can do it alone. And we revere values of compassion and caring. After all, we're members of the same community. we take care of each other, because in the end, what counts is the content of the human heart. Demographic realities portend great change. We are becoming more diverse, more elderly. Even the weather is changing. But I believe our fundamental values will not change. They will be our rock as we face the challenges ahead. My passion to meet the challenges has never been stronger. My love for this city and its people has never been deeper. My faith in our values, with pride in the work already accomplished, I offer to lead Portland into the future. I am pleased to take this opportunity to announce my candidacy for re-election to the office of mayor. So we turn with hope to a future we cannot predict, but confident in our power to choose how it begins and perhaps what it will remember of us. It begins now, on this day, here with us. And the question I ask all of you, are you ready? I am. Thank you.
We're going to allow 10 minutes now for questioning. Those of you, I realize, that are plan on leaving at 1:15, fine, but there'll be 10 minutes for questions now. Ned?
I don't think I need that, Vera.
No.
Vera, the Oregon Supreme Court has ruled Metro's urban reserve policies illegal. What do you see as the impact of this decision on the city's and the region's vision for urban growth and livability? And two, most importantly, what do you see as your personal leadership role in addressing the impact and coordinating and monitoring the many current and possible future projects to be sure that they respond to and comply with the critical infrastructure, affordable housing, job and educational opportunities, and the many other goals included in your citywide livability mandated by this vision? You're on your own.
I'll be very quick. I'm very fortunate to have wonderful partners on the City Council, Commissioner Hales, Commissioner Francisconi, Commissioner Stan Salzman, who are helping in making sure that we meet our regional goals, making sure that we meet our housing affordable goals by demanding that the entire region make a commitment to affordable housing, not only the city of Portland, to make sure that we continue looking at transportation and how it ties with jobs and housing. And to make sure that as Metro begins looking at possibly expanding the urban growth boundary, they look to us on how we actually and what we have actually accomplished. Not some fancy statistics and numbers and databases, but talk to us about what we've done, what a livable community will look like. And begin talking about regional livable community issues, a regional transportation policy, a regional housing policy, yes, and even a regional education funding policy. So I said that I was committed. I should be committed, but I said I was committed to stay on MPAC, which is the group of elected leaders from the region, to begin to look how we can work together to keep faith in our regional goals and are trying very, very hard to maintain the urban growth boundary.